Greetings, it is I, Ben, maker of spaceships, returning at last to some form of streaming. This time on YouTube, we're giving it a go. For those of you not familiar with us, we make 3D printable spaceships, and this is our upcoming ship, the Beowulf, an official 28mm Traveller starship from the Traveller role-playing game universe. If you do pick up any weird sounds in the background, that would be Albin, who also works for Second Dynasty. And yeah, we are live streaming on YouTube for the first time, and behind me, I'm going to put the ship down, maybe we will tour it a little bit more shortly. Here we see the 3D representation of it in Maya. So in the past, we've live streamed for about an hour on Thursdays. We'll probably go back to that time slot. We did have a hiatus when we recently moved office, and part of the reason for this is the fact that we did not have any broadband. So we do have broadband now. We have extremely fast broadband. In fact, there is another stream going on in another part of the building, and it doesn't look like this is affecting anything, and one would hope not. We do have 1,000 up and down at present on fiber, business fiber as well. So yeah, basically what we usually do in the live stream sessions is we just do about an hour of work in Maya. We can look at the chat, see the questions. Hey guys, by the way, nice to see some friendly names back in the chat here. Do go ahead and ask some questions, because Albin can always ask me a few of the questions that are in the chat if I get fixated on my work. We do like to have some interaction, which is the whole point of doing a live stream versus just recording some videos. The last month, I think, we've been doing these short 3 to 5 minute videos showing the progress of the week. We'll just talk about that sort of stuff now. I don't know if we'll cut this down to size or if we'll just leave this video as it is. It all depends on the reception. In any case, we have done a considerable amount of work on the Beowulf. In fact, you could almost say that the entire forward section of the ship here, almost half of the ship actually, now that I'm looking at it, I thought it was longer, is printed like you guys saw, and it is quite heavy. Let's go to the close-up again, and I'll try and get this closer to the camera. This is the second deck here. The holes you see in the floor there, those are for control panels. By the way, guys, let me know if you can't hear properly or anything like that. We're testing some new settings. You can see the completed cockpit in there, or bridge rather. There's a few bits and bobs we still are missing. We don't have any support rods in it at the moment, but we have weighed this beast, and it's 1.4 kilos already. And as you can see from the Maya files, let's see. Nope, oh, that's a different thing, and I'm in the wrong scene anyway. Yeah, we're only about halfway through the ship, so with the lid on this thing, you can probably expect this to be at least in the 5 to 6 kilo range, I would say. So a lot of this back section is empty. We have to figure out the best and most optimal way of doing that. The lag you are seeing is because I've got all the bells and whistles on in Maya. So if I just turn off a couple of these features, for example, if I turn off the lights, it'll be lightning fast to respond. So that is why it's behaving the way it is. But you know, it looks cool with all the lights on. Anyway, so our most recent work has been this Deck B stateroom here. So this would be like the captain's quarters. We have this nice sort of like computer section. I guess this is a folding chair or something. We have updated the freshers. So let's turn off the lighting and shading there, and you can kind of see we've combined the Type S freshers there. We have the regular kind there, and there's just like a little bit more detail here than there was before. Things like, you know, there's now actually somewhere to adjust the water. turn it on or off, switch from flush, switch from toilet mode to shower mode, I guess.
Oh no. That's a good order to do it, I guess.
Well, you don't want to do it all at once, do you? All right. Hello. I wouldn't. It wouldn't let me in. It looks good. Well, you're in now. Hopefully, it's working now. Oh, perhaps you followed the second link, Adam. Because I don't know what I'm doing with these live streams. So I think I accidentally created two. So I deleted the first one and restarted this one because there were more people waiting. So yeah, basically that's what's going on there. I have no idea exactly how this works, how many are watching. I guess there's about 8 people at the moment. So considering the fact we haven't been streaming for a month or two, that's a good result. We only ever have had about 20 people on at a time. But the important thing is to sort of like just get this out there and people can see the way we work. And obviously the other issue is that we are in Sweden and a lot of our fans are in the United States. So you can see here the stairs down to the deck below. I'm extremely happy with the progress on this ship, to be perfectly honest. I thought it would be a nightmare to work on. It is challenging, but it is less of a nightmare than the Type S, actually. The Type S had a lot of awkward angles that you're trying to fix all the time. Here, it's usually limited to just one sort of side of whichever piece you're working on. So there are still a few challenges to come, like fixing the lift. I could probably fix these shaders just a little so that it is completely black here on the top. I've been doing that sort of thing. Let's see. No, they didn't change. Sometimes you switch it to the other shader and then to the one you want, and it'll work. So, and we probably want to do the top of the shower as well. Let's see, if we select this, we just press G. No, that didn't work. Alright, so we switch it from one to the other. There we go. So it is a Friday here. The spring feels like it's on the way. And yeah, I think we've made some good progress. Right now I'm in the middle of designing, like, we're going to have a sort of long diner chair with a table on this side and another on there, because you need to keep those paths clear, right? So that's my plan. As you can see here, there's, you know, a control panel that will be for managing the cargo bay. I still need to figure out a way to attach this ladder to this wall, because if you look at the 3D printed version, let's see, boop, boop, boop. You can't see an extension of the ladder here yet, so there is a bit to do, but the print came out very nice. Most people I don't think would have an issue with it. So yeah, let's see. Beowulf will be a chonk. It sure will. All right. So this is what I have been working on for the main part. But we do have a slight pause coming up on the Beowulf, or pause and pause. I'll just be working on it slightly less. Now, I have hinted at this in our videos, but essentially the Beowulf, we want to do a perfect version of it, essentially, so that we have got our review copies, we can get it to our painter, and you know, make a nice pitch video for the campaign. The downside to this is it means that the actual launch of the Kickstarter probably won't be until the end of the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So we're talking the end of August. It's partially so that we can take our summer breaks and then get stuck straight into it. It's partially to ensure that we can get everything done on time for once and, you know, release it when we are ready. However, we did our last Kickstarter back in November. We are going to do a mini campaign, not on Kickstarter, but on My Mini Factory. Now, they're in the process of rebranding their crowdfunding, because it isn't crowdfunding, it's a pre-order of sorts. So consider it kind of like a pre-order where under a certain period of time, you can actually unlock stretch goals, I guess. So the difference being that if you have bought that product, you get the files to download straight away, those that already exist. And what are we doing? Well, we are revisiting a lot of our oldest material. Now, I started back in 2017 when we did the first test for Starship. Well, it's just called Starship. And that campaign, I guess maybe it would help if I got the material up. Maybe I can log into my Kickstarter and check it out. Let's see if I've got one up here somewhere. Let's see, my created projects. View all there, and we can go here, and then we can go there. So I'm in the process of getting a couple of screens off on their own. So let's see. Here is one. And then we have that one. No, not that one. What is it? That one. Right, so hopefully you guys can see this. So Starship 1, this was way back in 2017. We did a fantastic job. I'm just going to turn off this plugin, hopefully. No, we'll leave it. But yeah, this was a very simple sort of like, we started out with deck plans essentially, not with complete ships. You can kind of see the way that we were thinking of doing things at the start. There were a lot of files included, but you know, the technique that we were using, we were starting out, we didn't know exactly how to optimize things the way we do now for 3D printing, and also FDM printers have gotten so much better. But the annoying thing with OpenLook, you can see here that there is all these built-in supports in each of the tiles. Not in this one, but in most of them. Now, this is an issue if you want to try and print these on resin printers, because then there's a lot of extra material you have to pull out, and it's more brittle. And, you know, we continued with Starship 2, and, you know, this is where we started to come up with the concepts of, you know, doing an actual full ship, and that's where Shuttle Alpha came into things. But again, all of these tiles, you know, they have these OpenLock supports. If you backed our most recent stuff, I mean, a lot of the Traveler stuff, it does need to be perfectly integrated into the hull, because we just don't always have the room for all of the clips. So it requires a custom solution. But sometimes you want to make a deck plan. So say that you wanted to make a deck plan and you don't want to use... you have your own idea about the layout. We don't have that ship supported, but you want a 3D representation of the internal layout of that ship. The idea with Starship 1 and 2 was to be able to do that. As you can see with some of these rooms, they do have thicker walls, but printing challenges that were associated with them. Now, things have gotten a lot better since then, both in the way that we work, but also what we're able to support. There is a new format called 3MF that we're going to move over to. It does offer a few advantages and disadvantages over STL. Actually, they're all advantages, but still, we're going to integrate it into the new version of Deck Designer, which is called 3DO, or 3D Diorama. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but basically we're going to be launching that campaign on MMF next month at some point, probably towards the end of the month. And at that point, we'll be re-releasing, well, not really re-releasing, it's like reimagining. The campaign has a fancy name, which we're rather proud of, which is Starship: The Next Generation. So it won't necessarily be tile for tile the exact same thing, but they are built up in a particular way that makes them more manageable for us to create, more iterative for us to create, so we can make more variants of them more quickly. And with the tools we're going to provide in 3DO, you are going to have some benefits where you could custom customize to some degree eventually, stuff for actual printing. So whereas we have made it impossible from Deck Designer to create custom tiles that you can then print, this service would be an extension which actually will allow you to customize within a certain degree, exactly something that is printable. So the idea being, you might have a floor you could customize and then put a table on that floor or whatnot. So it's going to be on a smaller scale. We don't want to make ourselves irrelevant, but it will also be open for pretty much any. You'll be able to import stuff in and customize it, I guess. So we're opening up Deck Designer so it's a little bit more broader, which is also why we've had the name change. So let's say we do have some comments and questions. Glad to hear you are doing this ship revamp on MMF. Very excited about that. Yeah, well, the reason for that is essentially we don't want to blow our Kickstarter credit all at once, and we're not looking for anywhere near the kind of crowdfunding levels that we normally do. We're looking for something that will be able to buy us the time to do the Beowulf right. And I mean, the Beowulf could be done in that time period, but it would be a case of, I have a physical prototype, it's not painted, we don't have a fancy file, we haven't had anyone reviewing it or anything like that. So we are going to have to, the idea is that this will help us do everything right for once. I know that I say this before every single campaign, and every time we seem to run out of things, but like the Beowulf's going to be our end of year campaign is the idea. We want to get to a position where we're launching, say, May or April, May, and then September, October every year. So 2 campaigns a year of something. We'll see what it ends up being. I don't know if Albin is getting together a...
Yeah, it's a short clip.
You do have a clip?
It's very rudimentary, but it's... I'm going to send you the link. I have issues with Premiere Pro because it deletes my shortcuts every time I open it. So I have to use the mouse all the time, which is very infuriating, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, we do have a couple of questions here. Let's see. If you use 3MF, is there a way to prevent it from saving/loading the printer settings? It's kind of annoying to have to reset back to the Prusa Mini from the Prusa MK3s whenever I load a 3MF. I'm not entirely sure about that. There could be a way to do that. Maybe if we have a generic printer loaded or something. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm thinking, I mean, if we can export from like other programs than Prusa, like Maya or Blender in the future, then we will just get like a file format without print settings, I think.
John's the guy to talk to about this. I'm not sure. Maybe there's something you can strip out of the file, but I would imagine the issue then would be that the supports that are already saved in the file will disappear. So let's see. Then we had a noob here. Can one still get the Traveller ship minis? Absolutely. This is where my manufacturer actually comes in. So if I open up a new My Manufacturing window, you come into crowdfunding, and we probably have to dive a bit deep, but if we search for Trav, there we go. So here we go. Both campaigns are still active on MMF, so you can go into Traveller RPG Starship Miniatures there. It will load up, and then you just make a pledge as normal. Soon we're going to be transferring this stuff over to the store, which means it's going to be less possible. But let me just copy this link into the chat. So guys, there is also in the description of the video, or rather the stream, there is a couple of links there to our stuff. This ship is going to be fantastic when it's released. I'm just about finished with the Scout Type S, just on the last part of the landing gears. Nice. Which kind of landing gears did you go with? As you can see, we haven't done anything on the landing gear just yet. We'll probably do that later. I don't think we'll have a folding landing gear this time around. It just takes they're at different heights. It gets complicated quickly. And then the other thing too is the Type S isn't super stable. So we want to try to eliminate some of that wobbliness. But yeah, the rest of the session we're not actually going to spend on the Beowulf. There's a lot of work to do. I'm just sorry, did you have a question or something?
No.
It looked like he was holding up his hand.
Teacher. I added a link to your. Oh, what up, guys? So I added a link to a Discord for the video clip.
Yes. All right.
If you want to, it is pretty rubbish, but it should show that you're able to change out different parts a little bit at least.
All right, a rubbish clip, you say?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, it's in the YouTube folder.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It has a date as a name, unfortunately, but I was a bit stressed.
Wait, is it this one that? Yeah. Today's date, the 11th. All right, let's see what we got here, guys. Hopefully you're seeing it. So these are just like the templates and things that we're working on and a couple of the variants. So you can kind of see we're combining different aspects of our models.
I can't really tell if it's streaming this though.
I think it is. It should be. I haven't turned off the stream.
The stream is... Oh, it's delayed, sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind me.
Streams tend to be delayed. So yeah, you can see, well, this is a lot more involved than I thought it would be, so good work, Albin.
Oh, thank you.
Let's just repeat this. Wait, how do we just press play again? So yeah, we are working on bases, and the idea being that we'll make this as modular as possible. You can see the supports are all gone, because all of these files now, with few exceptions, will be printing on their sides. So I've shown this before on the print beds, but yeah, this is partially so that the files are going to be more compatible with resin if you want to print them on resin printers, right? We're still not going to optimize the hell out of them. I don't think we're going to be including custom supports, and a lot of people have given feedback that they like to do their own supports anyway. But yeah, if we look at a print bed, for example, you can see here, okay, now these are custom floor pieces, but I print them out with their on their sides, and the reason being, if I go to slice and print this, is that you get all of this detail in here. Now, if I just, let's see, I can add in one of these files again, not the wall, we want a floor. Okay, this is the same piece, right? So I've imported this as its separate piece. Whoop, and trying to use Maya controls on something. I do this all the time. Okay, so if we just delete everything else, or at least these, so we can compare them side by side. Let's slice these, and if we look at the pattern we get when it's flat, right? And you guys have printed before, presumably a lot of you on FDM machines, and you will have noticed that the top, even if you do have ironing on, you're not going to get these nice grid patterns. If we print this on the side, this is the fidelity we get, and it looks fantastic, as we can attest to in the close-ups. Like again, you can see the floor there. We get all of that nice detail. You can actually read the semiotics, and you just get a completely different detail level than you would if you were printing it flat down. Okay, now the flat print is going to be quicker, and you're always going to have the option if you want. Oh, this is what we're coming up to in a sec. You are going to have the option if you want to print it in which orientation you want. So if you want a quicker job done, this is the way to do it. But if we had, for example, a floor grading here, we slice it, that's 54 minutes for that, right? If we put it in the flat orientation instead, we've got 28 minutes. So there is a significant time difference, but if we do 4 of these, we get 1 hour 43 minutes. If we then rotate all of these back again, we get 3 hours. So you can see that the time difference is starting to become less and less and less the more copies that you have. So in bulk, it ends up being not that different. So let's see. Oh, totally glitches Shadow Lego. Hey, Lego. Have you talked with Prusa, who are members of the 3MF consortium, about saving just geometry and not build things for 3MF? I think they may want to bring that up with their programmers and partners. It's a good idea. I haven't. Let's see. All right, I think we're caught up on the chat. But yeah, the other scene I was hiding is this one. So I was it Tuesday and Wednesday? Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday I was stuck at home dog sitting. My wife works for a racetrack that's around an hour away, and they had some race days on and some other stuff. Long story short, I was at home with the dog. The new dog that we've got is a retired greyhound who's a little bit anxious at the moment to be left alone. So I can try working from home, but the dog doesn't always let me work from home. However, I used the time this time around to work on a variant of the shuttle. Now, the shuttle made its appearance all the way back in Starship 2. In fact, if we go to the stretch goals, I recently made a video update on the shuttle, talking about its history, but also sort of like as a pitch. Let's see, where are all our stretch goals in this one? Should be somewhere right down the bottom. Oh, the scout ship was there. Okay, that's right, it was an add-on. It was an add-on. So I did this really simple version as an add-on. Where are the bloody add-ons? Let's see. It's not there. Why is it not? Oh, I mean Starship. No? What? Maybe I didn't include it in this, which is crazy. Where is Shuttle Alpha? Did I really start with the beta? Well, I mean, I have it in the scene, so I must have started working on it at that point. I thought it was an add-on for this one. In any case, it was a very simplified version, kind of like this, but scaled up. And that's crazy. I feel like it should be here somewhere. Oh, I scrolled past it. There it is. So you can see the Shuttle Alpha in its original form was very, very basic. We don't have any of the whole detail that we have by comparison now, right? So this is the base version. Well, not quite the base because I made some new engine alternatives for the secondary engines. But yeah, this is Shuttle Alpha, the updated version. Actually, version 3 is what I would call this one. Because we did, version 1 was the version in Starship 2. Then when we were building this, we were realizing that it was taking like a month to convert this shuttle into something that was printable. And the beta took 2 months. So we turned Starship 3, of course, into our first campaign where we had fully detailed ships. But yeah, this was version 1. Version 2 is what we saw in Starship 3, because I wanted to make it worthwhile for those people that had already sort of bought in on the shuttle. And they got all these different iterations, right? Well, the files for them anyway. But yeah, I wanted to revisit Shuttle Alpha. A couple of people had mentioned it, but I was really kind of inspired by just the front of the ship. Someone had said like, oh, this isn't a very traveler-friendly front of the ship. And I didn't really know what they meant by that comment. I wasn't necessarily agreeing with it, and it's not a traveler ship per se. But I was like just thinking, oh, maybe I could switch out the front of the ship with a simple job, and I just had made up something kind of like this, right? But I had in mind the Battlestar Galactica shuttle, So this is kind of what I envisaged in the end. Let's see, we can isolate this.
We got a comment earlier. I think it's concerning the new version of the Shuttle Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Adam Kusic.
Yeah.
He's called Blasted Camouflage usually, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he said, "Sweet Christmas, that is beautiful."
It is. It's a thing of beauty. But yeah, it ended up being a little bit more. So this is kind of like what I started working on while I was dog sitting, trying to work on my laptop. My laptop is horrendous for 3D work. Still, I found it a bit boring sitting there with a television. So yeah, this is essentially the version 3 interior of the shuttle. It is extended by a 1/2 inch, I think, in the interior because we've got this sort of flatter top. These windows won't necessarily have these. It can be made with or without the windows sort of like separation. But you can, yeah, I really like this concept. And we can sort of see in, let's see, why are there no shadows when we move that?
Is it something with the normals?
I don't know. Just like the scene shadows are gone. It could be to do with the light bouncing off the. Yeah, it's the light bouncing off the background.
Oh.
There's no. Let's see if I turned off the. Yeah, that's why. The actual ground is blocking the bounce light, so we weren't getting the shadows through. But yeah, I wanted to make it. The other thing too is like if we look at taking the top off. Are you trying to ask a question again, Alvin?
Oh no, the people saying that it looks stellar and damn good, and those windows are very Star Trek TOS shuttle.
Oh, nice.
So people like it. They like what they see.
The people like a bit of a toss. No, the other issue too, since we built the shuttle, is that we didn't have our miniatures in the beginning, and now we do, and the miniatures made us realize just how off scale the seating was. The seats looked enormous, like I would say like 32 mil, but we still have that 25.4 millimeter square size, the inch square size, right? So. In the Type S, we scaled down the seat, and this will look more obvious when I sort of like intersect these. But yeah, here is the two versions of the seat together. So this was our original version, and this is our current version on the stuff we're working on. So a part of this is updating the seats. Whoops, I do want that top off though. I'm not finished. Like I need to move the seat forward too, and there's, like I said, there's about 1/2 inch extra room in here that we get back from making this front flatter and less aerodynamic. The control panels too have lowered a little because, again, if we just move this over to compare, before seated with the miniatures, you really couldn't see over them at all. And this is not a huge difference in height, but it does make a tiny bit of difference to make it, more practical. So it's all about sort of addressing things. I might even put that even deeper in, I'm not sure.
There's a question there.
There is.
Yes, about the windows. Is there a groove in the window, so you could say print glass for it?
Yeah, that's the idea with these flatter windows. I need to put this on the right layer. You can actually see that we have a slot here we've left in. I haven't quite finished. These are not printable yet, and in fact that's what I'm working on. I'd like to maybe have a piece or two that we could leave on over the weekend, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It's already 3:30. We usually wrap things up at around 4 o'clock. But yeah, the front of the ship, it's designed basically so you can keep this piece, and if you wanted to, you could leave the rear of the ship the same. but the back end doesn't have the VTOL engines anymore. It just has some solid rockets there, and you would just be using the retro thrust here, and from a Star Citizen sort of level reaction control system to maneuver and navigate. Of course, if you want to just put this back on your regular shuttle, you can. I might eventually do a version where we add in some fins again, or fixed wings or something. But yeah, the idea being that this is an alternative version of the shuttle. Now, I never planned this to be a part of that Kickstarter. Sorry, the MMF thing we're doing, but maybe that's good timing since it's coming up soon to have that as an option.
Yeah.
Again, I want to make it worthwhile for older backers to come back, even though it's stuff that they technically have in the older style, a lot of it.
And that's kind of cool as well, I think. Because there seems to be a ship in the Kickstarters, or whatever you call it, in the earlier versions as well. So that's kind of a callback, I think, also.
A ship?
I mean, like the Shuttle Alpha. Or
yes, it was in the older iteration, so it is kind of appropriate.
Yeah.
So, let's use the last bit of our time. I just built this piece, which is an insert as well. This is what makes it possible to reuse the base here. So, the newer sections are essentially these, right? So you can kind of see the selected ones, the new parts, if you wanted to convert an existing shuttle. So for most people, it's most of the shuttle. But you could just choose to put the top on, right? And take these side pieces, and you would be replacing this piece, and the screen, obviously. But yeah, I wanted to make it so that you just put a piece of plastic down, thread it through, I haven't opened this up yet, but thread it through here, 3 pieces basically, fairly easy to cut. I tried to keep them fairly square, so yeah, you could basically you could take a Coke bottle and cut out a piece, right, and just slide it in there. Let's see. Please add it to the MMF one. I will then. Any additional posed minis for the MMF campaign? The MMF campaign is not going to have 28mm miniatures. However, the 2 backers from the Traveller 1 campaign, where we did have Traveller miniatures that bought at the Archduke level, have finally gotten in touch. Papsicles has finished with his campaign, so he's able to do one of the miniatures, and Kyroshenenko is going to do the other. So hopefully around the same time we'll be releasing those, so that'll be an option. But yeah, we're going to focus on the tile side of things for the main part. But we'll probably also look at revisiting chairs and beds so that they do sort of fit to the design philosophy we had with that series. So, no, but yes, there are 2 new miniatures coming, or 10 technically, because they have 5 poses each, right? They have 0G, standing, sitting, lying down, and action. Yeah. Every time I say action, I just hear that song from Kung Fury with David Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I thought you were going to say like action for like a movie or something.
And yet I didn't say that, Albert.
No. It's difficult living in alternative realities.
Well, half the world's living in an alternative reality right now, so I don't think anyone can be begrudged for that.
That's a good point.
A lot has happened since the last time we streamed.
There was a question here from, first of all, Patrick Laduglaw says hi or hello. And Totally Glitch, that's Shadow Lager, I think, said, could Papsicle use 3MF to have gun/equipment brackets for personnel? Like an issue for...
It's not something we'll be doing. And the thing is, I don't know if he'll be doing 3MF in the future. I thought 3MF could do a little bit more than what it actually can at the moment. Like moving around different objects. Our initial experiments. This is why we'll probably do something with 3DO instead for that sort of thing. Now, Paps might make some stuff that is supported in 3DO in the future, but I have not had any discussions with him whatsoever. Paps himself has obviously had 2 very successful Kickstarters. There's a lot of deliveries to be made for that. As far as I know, he's still doing all the work himself. So it was fortunate, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that the backer was like, well, at the time they got, you know, the Archduke thing, it was Papsicles that was slated to do the models. So I said, well, I can ask him, but I know he's busy. But we got lucky that he was willing to still do that, which is great. But I can't imagine he'll be ready for commissions anytime soon. Now, the Beowulf campaign we probably will do some miniatures for, and maybe we will even do some polling or that sort of thing in the future. I imagine it'll be a little bit more Kaishu Nenko that does those sorts of things, mostly because I imagine that Papsicles is going to continue with the Kickstarters, and it could be a while before he's got free time again. Let's see. So I'm just going to drop this down a bit. This is an example of a section of the ship that I'm not incredibly happy with as it is, but you know, it is what it is. We're going to have to live with a few imperfections. And let's see, we'll move that back there. And we're just trying to create, you know, a bridge between these different sections. So yeah, there is a little bit of a difference here between the original shuttle and what we've gone with here. But I feel that aesthetically it looks cool. It still feels like it's related, but also that it could fit into a couple of different universes more than the original shuttle, which, if we're honest, is a little bit more I guess Japanese inspired. A lot of my inspiration for my initial designs comes heavily from my favorite influences, and I think the shuttle, some versions of it kind of like was more. I remember there being a shuttle in like Phantasy Star or something like that. That maybe was a bit inspiring. I can't quite remember at this point. Let's see. I'm going to move that in a bit more. Just trying to get these sections to look like they fit properly. That mostly looks alright. How does it look?
There was a question here.
A question?
Or a few, I think.
You thunk?
Thunk the gods. I thought about that myself. That's an earlier one. There was a question about if there are thoughts of putting yourself in the Beowulf as a mini.
There have been a couple of requests from that, but I imagine that those requests also come from the same people week after week. So, maybe is the answer. I don't know. Is there really a demand for that?
There was a suggestion there. Make bonus stretch goal. Second Dynasty crew in low berths.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens. It all depends. There's even when we get stuff commissioned, usually we do the commissions. The commissions aren't cheap. So
there was also a thing that concerned the jig, the 28mm one.
Yeah.
When you create windows meant for inserts, have you thought about templates we can use to cut accurate shapes?
Yes. That is something that's been brought up a couple of times, and I am considering. Let's see. I'm gonna do a little bit of a cheat here, and we need to bind some. No, for sure. Like the windows are like, I don't usually use them myself, but yeah, I'm trying to make things where it's easier to create inserts, and I understand and respect that, you know, some people do need some templates. It is kind of hard to figure out in 3D how to sort of like unwrap something so it's the right size. So we'll see. Maybe there's some sensible ways to do that I haven't thought about. We do have a little bit of extra resources here in the office now. Some people I can ask that do more physical productions. But yeah, in general, we'd like to sort of support that sort of stuff in the future.
We got a few comments here.
Mm-hmm.
From Hazel M. Oh my god, wait, did you make the new alpha variant because of my suggestion? Because it's so absolutely gorgeous and so much better than I had ever imagined in my wildest hopes. Thank you.
Maybe I got a little bit inspired by our conversation. I mean, it seems like an obvious, quick thing to do, although it wasn't at all quick. It's not quick. I've been working on this for about 3 solid days, I would say. It's still like quick.
Yeah.
It's a lot quicker than designing a ship from scratch. But it wasn't as simple as just changing a couple of polygons, that's for sure. Alright, this isn't really... Let's do the cheat way.
They've never been so excited to print something in their whole lives.
Well, I'm happy that I made some people happy with this. But yeah, we're probably going to save it as an iteration that'll go into our MMF campaign next month. So that'll give us time to test print it, do a little bit of quality control. This way it kind of feels too like I'm actually helping Album, that this next campaign has mostly been Album. Oh, Album, we've forgotten about something.
Oh, no.
This is coming next week, though, because this, of course, was done by Peter, but we've partially, you can kind of, it's hard to tell, but it only has one clip at the moment, and we're not quite satisfied with the way this is twisting a lot, so we'll probably put the line a bit further back and make a clip hole like there and there. Yeah. But then when you put this down flat on the table too, the kind of, oh, now it's being nice and stable. Maybe that antenna made all the difference, but it is a little bit back heavy, so we'll probably move that point back just a tiny little bit in the final version. So let's see. It's nice that we are getting a few people here on YouTube. I can see we've got 13 people watching, which is nice. It's about what we usually get on Twitch, so pretty happy with that. And the beautiful thing about this is it's straight onto a YouTube channel at the moment.
Oh, we got a hey man from Ola Larsson.
Oh, Ola Larsson in the house. The, of course, famous Swedish role-playing game cover painter. For those of you who might not know, he's known for his work on Mutant, amongst other games. So he is a gaming legend here in Sweden, of sorts. And also, he used to work in the same building as us before he moved to the devil city of Malmö. All cities are devil cities to me. I like living in our town where we've only got 30,000 people. That's a good. That's you can't even really call it's a town, isn't it? You can't call it a city, but it's reasonable. You don't have the traffic. It's literally 5 minutes from door to door in my car, or a 15-minute ride. That's what I like. I'm a lazy person. I don't like people getting in my way. All right. So basically, we're just going to continue on with some of these design choices, but we kind of need to see how this is fitting in. Now, we're going to have a custom version of these controls. It is a new version anyway. But yeah, the main issue being, I guess in reality, this is going to be a little lower down than what it presently is. It'll actually be around about here. So assuming that and moving the chair down as well. Let's move the chair down. Come on, let's take the roof off. So let's get this chair down. Oh, wait, what? Oh, we haven't moved this down either. Let's actually...
So there's someone commenting Von Red. Don't know what that means though.
It's probably a name. I don't know. But that's not the important thing. What is the comment?
No, that's the comment.
Oh.
Yeah. So they are called Vicky Kim.
Vom.red.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like it's probably actually a bot that's trying to get us onto a porn site or something. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, Vicky, if that's not the case, but...
Temporarily blocked.
Alright. Did you do that or did YouTube?
I think I did it.
You think you did it? Alright, we're just getting like this character onto the seat there. So now let's look at that eye level again. There's more of a viewport, but we've still got the issue of, you know... Ooh, there, we're seeing from their eyes. So... Ooh! We probably, it would help if we change the camera controls a little bit, but yeah. So the floor actually will be a little bit lower, is my point, than what we had it in the initial piece. Which is good for like the control panel clearance, but we still need to think about the miniature and where it's sitting. I mean, still we're at 28mm scale. These no one's going to get down and get level and try to see, oh, can they see over this control panel to that degree? But, you know, moving forward, it seems sensible to standardize things. This is an awkward piece to print, mostly because we print this like so. We're going to need to have a support area there and a support area there, so we're going to have to add supports along there and along there to get this to be the way we want it to be. And let's see, I'm just gonna cut this there so that we can make some bridges.
Over troubled water.
Oh. There'll be trouble, all right, Albin, if there's more of... no, we just want to get rid of these. We're going to create this slot for the windows.
There was a question about the chairs.
Yeah.
Will the chairs not have the filament peg?
Yeah, they will. They will. That's what we're going to do moving forward. So, like, I haven't imported everything from the other scene at the moment. So, I would imagine by the time we get this, like, you guys have said you want to see this in the upcoming campaign. I don't see why we wouldn't release it. I don't really want to get back into doing a ton of shuttle variants, but, you know, we might do more than one. I don't know yet. We'll see. But it all depends. I just want to make sure that there's, you know, some good value for money for returning backers, so that you guys feel confident in supporting us. Oh shit! I just thought of something. This is gonna be printing in air. Okay, so what we need to do for this tricksy little hobbitses is going to be to have this lower, and there to be a sort of like, yeah, okay. I don't know if you guys are easily following, but let's see. Maybe I can actually do a quick export. I doubt this is going to work, but we can try it. Let's export this to... I want to go in a completely different folder, because I don't want to go...
Thomas Kelly said, such care and talent is going into these. Big heart. And Hazel agrees. And I admire your passionate ability to make it work with the floors. As a
Yeah, of the technique. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate that. This is probably not going to slice well if I hit slice yet. No. But the point was we wanted to get it into the scene in the orientation it's going to be. So now we can see where the real issues are, right? This side of things, that's going to print fine. It's at a 45-degree angle. But all of this is in the air. So what I'm trying to say is we would be adding supports along here, right? That's something that we have to do. And I was going to say just along the underside of this, which doesn't exist at present. But then we have an issue where the top part here has no support. So what we need to do is create like a lip. So essentially, we want to, let's gut this extrusion. We want to create a lip. So I'm just going to come straight down. Like maybe this much, right? So this is going to be our support bar, right? Somewhere where we can support it from. And then we need to cut this and bring it down so it's like a little bit lower. So maybe we don't need it all that much, but... And this is going to be slightly angled, but the plastic you're going to be using here will easily adjust. So let's just add that back, right? And so essentially what I'm saying is we need to, let's alter this. Let's alter the deal. It's getting worse all the time. I think the best thing to do is to just come down the same amount. So what I'm going to do is separate this right there. Hopefully that's the only piece. It should, if I can select that now, yeah. You know, move the pivot point into the corner here, and then this is a nice little trick. Instead of trying, if I move this down to there, it's going to be, you know, at the right height, right? But if we're going to make this exactly the same, because we want to create an angle on this, which is like essentially the same. So what we can do is move the pivot point here and just move it down there, and then we know that that's from here to there, that's the exact same distance as from there to there, right? So that's gonna leave us some room to feed that plastic down into there. And then I'm guessing we might want it a little bit lower as well, just because if we recreate this, let's see. Must be late in the show now because my throat is getting dry. Let's see. That did not work. Oh, we've got one too many there. There we go. Right. You can see this isn't quite the right angle. So I might just grab these again. Just the top parts, please. And I'm going to get cheeky again with my pivot points, but this time I'm going to go and select halfway between there and move it down just a half. And that looks like at least it's straight. Okay, so there will be a tiny little bit of an angle change here, like we're coming down, and then slight angle change there, right? We do have the same issue here, but that can probably be addressed by just not making this as deep, essentially, and having it come back straight away. So because the piece of plastic you put in isn't going to be anywhere near as wide as that, right? But it will allow you to be a little bit flexible. Let's see, so we will be wrapping up shortly, but the other thing we want to do here is we need a flat surface along here. So let's just go and do the same thing, and again we do the pivot point trick to get the same sort of surface. And that should be enough if you put the supports in, that they can then, you know, build at this angle, right? Let's see. Raggare. the Swedish phenomenon of weirdos that drive around in classic cars dressed as people from Happy Days. Well, a combination of people from Happy Days and bikers. They like their leather vests. Alright. So we are near to a busy road here, but the road is also quite muffled by very thick walls. Alright, so you guys hopefully get the idea here. There's quite a bit of mesh work left to do. The Nin's Zhodani Scout. No, Zhodani. Is it a Scout? Yes.
Yeah.
It is going to be released probably Monday because we needed to make the changes, so we haven't got the pre-supports in yet. We'll do a Kickstarter update on Monday as well. But for now, I would like to wish you all a happy weekend. It is coming together nicely here, I feel. Yeah, that's it for now. Again, this is our alternative shuttle configuration. I think it kind of looks like not only a BSG shuttle from Battlestar Galactica, obviously, for those who maybe not obvious is the point. I think it's like a cross between that and also I kind of get MISC Freelancer vibes from Star Citizen. So there might be a little bit of that going on. You obviously can reconfigure the interior a little bit. That was kind of a part of our version. You can see like this is the version 2 interior where we still had these walls. And then when we did the version 3, I took out the walls because, you know, you've already got the hull built in and we added that detail into the actual, you know, base hull. So you have all of this cool detail. So hopefully it sounds like you guys are buzzed about that development. We also have the Beowulf. I'll still probably be working on this 1 or 2 days a week so that we can slowly get things there. But the bulk of the difficult part actually is in the forward section of the ship where the hull is significantly more curved. And the back of the ship is quite a lot simpler because most of this room is actually fuel and what's the word I'm looking for? Fuel and fuel processors. So yeah, the ship itself, I'm very happy with the way it's looking. It is going to be our most awesome ship yet, I believe, and a big one, bigger than the Chimera even, I feel. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully this went well for people and we'll do it again.